Berwick upon Tweed, a thriving market town set on the beautiful Northumberland coast just south of the Scottish borders. "2015 sees the year that people of Berwick celebrate 900 years of history in the town. From April through to October, many free events are taking place to celebrate the colourful past of this quiet, friendly border town.
1979, I was working at the Tweed Press as a printer, and my boss said, "I've invited you to the TA centre." I said, "I'm not coming along, didn't really fancy it." Nobody phoned us to go out from my mates that night, so I popped along. 36 years later, I'm standing outside yesterday in my RLC uniform as a W1 of the RLC Reserves. The Army, throughout all of its arms, has a great tradition of training people to be really effective at doing whatever job they attempt when they go out out into the Army from civilian life. The cadets joining now, it's an army that's in change. It's certainly not an army that's in turmoil. A lot of people say it is. It's an army that's in change, and it's a change that can only be for the better.
There's a county trip to Belgium. We've had kids going to Brunei, Malta. There's a Falklands trip next year. So we get a chance to go all over the world for different organisations, whereas it could be shooting, sometimes it's just trips. We've got a cadet from our detachment, she's gone to Canada.
And every time you come across that bridge in the train, everybody goes, "What a wonderful place, I'll have to stop there one day." And even last weekend I was down in London speaking to someone, and his wife had to remind him that he'd been to Berwick and he'd forgotten. And she pointed out, "Remember, we did this and did that, what a wonderful little place, a fantastic little town." And even when you're sitting up in Edinburgh sometimes, you hear people saying, "I was down at Berwick yesterday, it's great, nice little journey down to the town for the day." It's a wonderful little place to come to. Sadly, most of us that live here don't really appreciate it, but that's the same with everywhere. But you've just got to come across that bridge in the train and just look and see. It's a fantastic sight.
Obviously this year has been the 200th anniversary for Waterloo, so there's been quite a lot of requests for Napoleonics as well. Weapons and tactics have changed over the centuries, so now you have weapons that are far more accurate. You've got like the drones, which obviously they can take out the target without even a man being anywhere near it, you know. So the boots on the ground are only sort of a last resort. A lot of wars are not wars as they were fought then, where you had a battlefield and the battle was there. So like Waterloo was fought on a field. Nowadays battles tend to be spread out and there tend to be more skirmishes. So the tactics have changed, the weapons have changed. The whole sphere of the armies had to change, you know.
So we do get a lot of experience travelling. So it is a good organisation, especially for people that come from backgrounds where they can't really financially afford to go places. You do get a chance to go all over the world.
So I think the infantryman now is in a big way being replaced by sort of mechanised forces. So you've got guided missiles. I mean, even the artillery is computer guided. Whereas before they would just point the gun in the right direction and hope that it hit. Nowadays they're pretty certain of hitting the target that they want to.
saw the cannons go off. Yeah, that was a great thing to see, because never seen a cannon go off, and the sound and it makes your chest bounce. It's amazing.
I think the cadets up in Berwick is absolutely amazing. I've been helping them for a lot of years through the Territorial Army supporting them and the Army Reserve supporting them. I've worked with various commanders that have through some have very good personal friends, including Deborah at the moment. And the culmination last week of the award that they got, which is basically the MBE for a group of people, was absolutely fantastic.
It's like one big happy family. We share stuff that some people wouldn't share with like random people that you meet. It's just like one happy family. It's just...
In the 1770s you have shorter spattered dashes.
Just looking around us today in the boards here, reading HMS Berwick, reading the boards about it and the actually connections. And I didn't know today that Berwick had someone that won the VC in the First World War. So even myself was learning something, and I've got a military background of 36 years in the Army Reserve.
We mostly fundraise for different service charities. Our detachment raises about £5,000 a year on different charities. Recently we've been doing a massive fundraising for the Army Benevolent Fund. So we do a lot of charity events. We recently got the Queen's Voluntary Award for our detachment.
It's like a great opportunity. You can get stuff in life, like with the Duke of Edinburgh, that helps you.
I've been in it for about 6 years, mostly as a cadet. I've just came back as an adult. But it's great because you get to learn discipline and everything, but at the same time you get to be part of something where it's like a family and things. You get to know each other very well, and you do a lot of amazing things with us, a lot of things that kids in Berwick wouldn't get to do without the organisation.
Ready! Present! Fire! Fire!
That was the Scottish Covenanters. That's another fascinating period of English history, when Englishmen fought Englishmen. It wasn't the first time. Obviously you had the border wars, 300 years when England and Scotland were constantly warring with each other. That's another fascinating period. If you study the border reivers, they really were a rough lot. If they weren't actually fighting a battle, then they were at each other's throats. But if it was a proper battle, like Flodden or somewhere like that, then the reivers knew each other by family. So they would try and avoid clashing too much with each other, and would actually feint fight, pretend to fight, and see which way the battle went. And then at the end of the battle, one would take the other prisoner, so that they got out of it without being injured. So that was the nature of the reivers. It was it was all based on families and feuds and names and clans. And if you study it, then it really is an interesting period in history. Today there has been an event in relation to Berwick 900. This is a multi-period event We have groups here from as far back as the English Civil War right up to World War II. The group I'm with are actually representing the Victorian period. We do this voluntarily, so we don't get any kind of pay out of it. This is not my job, this is my hobby. And because it's my hobby, then I put everything I can into it. And we're always proud to do any event anyway. You know, if we get a lot of interest from the public, then we're sending the public away with something that they didn't know before.
And strange enough, I think in 1645 or 1650 it was lost.
All spent mainly locally in the town. The history of the town regarding its military is well sourced with the rivalry between the Northumberland Fusiliers and now the Royal Regiment of Fusiliers and the King's Own Scottish Borderers, and now the first Royal Scots Borderers Battalion of the Regiment of Scotland is still fierce. And even in pubs today, the old and the bold get together, and it's a good laugh. I'm very, very lucky that I've not had a personal friend there. However, one of my training major's sons got killed, and I wasn't working with him at the time when his son got killed. But my heart went out to him. It's a horrible thing for any family to go through. But if you listen to the testaments that I said afterwards, and every one of the families regret their son joining, because that's what he joined to do. He knew, or his daughter, I should say. There's plenty of women been killed in the last 10, 12 years as well. The children wanted to do and died doing what they wanted to do. And it's a horrible thing, and the good thing at the moment is, luckily that's stopped. And hopefully if we do any more operations, we don't lose as many lives in an operation that we've been losing lately in the past 2 operations. But technology is moving forward, and things will improve.